Hey, Ruke, Alex Dodd from the Clemson Insider. How do you feel like you've taken a next step going in towards this season, and where have you seen progress personally?
Yeah, I feel like I've taken a big step. I think I'm putting more time into the film room, and my knowledge of the game has grown. Haven't been playing for that long compared to others, but I feel like I've taken a big step mentally and physically. Also, got my body right, got my body lean, coming off an injury, and trying to fortify my body towards this season.
Talk about getting your mind right. I mean, is that a lot of just focusing on the mental aspect of the game? Was that important while you were out with an injury? I mean, how kind of improve on that aspect you talk about?
Yeah, that was mainly what it was for me coming back from an injury, was getting my mental part of the game right. So realizing the backfield sets and knowing more formations and tendencies of what other offenses do. And, I just had to focus on that stuff and learn a lot more about the game this year. And that was really what helped me get better on the field and really helped the game slow down to me.
How much slower would you say the game is for you this fall camp as opposed to last? If you remember what last fall camp was like.
Yeah, it's actually very slow compared to last fall camp. Last fall camp, it slowed down a little bit, but this year is very slow because now I can see the tendencies of what the offense is getting ready to do and what formations they're in, and whether it's pass or run, I can identify that a lot quicker as to where I was 2 years ago.
Just want to ask a little bit about your background. I mean, you played basketball in high school until kind of later on. I mean, why was basketball the sport that you were initially kind of drawn to?
I have a coach named Coach Bill Foster, and I was in sixth grade, fifth grade, and I was always a lanky, tall kid. And he came up to me like, "I want you to play for my high school whenever you get older," and stuff like that. Rest of his soul, he's dead now, but he just drew me towards basketball, and I was playing ever since. I played point guard and stuff like that, and so that's what I was playing. But I always wanted to play football, but I never got the chance to because my parents were always scared. But they finally let me when I got older. And the school I went to my freshman year didn't have a football team, and I transferred to River Rouge, which had a football team. And so the coach came up to me after a basketball game, a state championship game, and told me he wanted me to play for him. And I tried to go to like wide receiver, but I couldn't catch. So we tried out linebacker, and we figured out D-line was the best spot for me.
So were you a bigger point guard then? I mean, obviously you're a much bigger guy now. I mean, how big were you back then when you were playing point guard?
Back then when I was playing point guard, I was probably like 6'3", 210, 220. I was real skinny. I was very small. And then one summer, I just started eating. And I got to 225, 230, and then football season came around my junior year. I got to 250, and now I'm 300 pounds. So it was really just the food that really got to me.
How did you put your parents' fears to rest? You're talking about your parents were a little concerned about you playing football. I mean, what did you tell them, or what did coaches tell them to kind of make them feel better about it?
It was really my cousins that convinced them. I have a cousin, Michael Jamudia. He played at Michigan, and she saw the success he was having. And then my other cousin, Michael, Michael, he played for Iowa, and now he's in the league. So when they saw him playing in high school and stuff, I would always tell them, like, I want to be like my cousins when I'm older and stuff like that and play football. So they finally let me.
Ruke, what's your expectations for this defensive line? What have you learned about the unit, during these practices?
My expectations for us is just to be better than we were last year, because that's really what it's all about. Be better than we were last year. It's always climbing the ladder, not going down on the ladder. And I just expect us to have a great year. We have so much depth from last year, and we battled a lot of injuries and other stuff like that affected the D-line. And so now we have pretty much the whole D-line back. We're all healthy. We're all playing at a high level. And it's really, for us, it's really just the depth. So my expectation is whoever runs out there first, there's no drop-off throughout the whole game. Whether it's a guy that's been here for 5 years or a guy that's been here for 1 year or half a year, I feel like there should be no drop-off. So that's my expectation for us.
Ruke, I wanted to ask about that sense of humor. Where does that sense of humor come from? Is that just a family thing? Is that something you learned from your cousins or from your siblings, or where does that come from?
That's just who I've been. I'm just a bubbly person. I love making people smile. Like, it brightens my day because you never know what somebody's going through, and if you make them smile, you can change the whole course of their day. So I always crack jokes with my coaches, my teammates, and I just crack jokes with everybody and just like being a blessing and a light to everybody. So that's really where it comes from. It's just me.
I guess, are there any examples of recent moments where you've kind of broken into a situation, made everybody laugh, or what types of things do you say to kind of try to get people to laugh?
Maybe it's more so things that I do, but I don't know. It's just whatever comes to my head at that point. I always just blurt it out and say it, and people find it funny. But in reality, that's just what I'm thinking, and so yeah, it's just whatever comes to mind at the time.
Anything else for Rick?
Let me just ask you, the streak of playoff appearances that Clemson's had. I mean, do you guys take it for granted, or just think that we're going to do that every year?
No, we have a windshield mentality, so we throw all that stuff in the rearview mirror, and that may be the expectation from outside, but for us, we go there and we play Clemson each week, and we just build on that. We don't expect to get stuff handed to us. We don't expect to go to the playoffs every year. We have to earn that. It's earned, not given. So for us, it's more about earning and doing what's best and doing what's right.
And just the defensive line room you're in, the group you're in with the defensive tackles, Brian Brzee and Tyler Davis and all those guys. I mean, how much having those guys there pushes you in terms of trying to get on the field and hit another level?
It really doesn't. I wouldn't say it pushes me. It just makes me better, and it makes all of us better. At the end of the day, not many rooms can say they have a guy like Brian Brzee or Tyler Davis in their room, or Trey Williams, Peyton Page, DeMonte, E.T., Darnell. It's just so many guys that I can name that are great players, and we really, really all make each other better. So I learn from him, they learn from me, and it just transpires onto the field.
What would you say your strengths are that you bring to that room as opposed to the other guys? How do you complement them?
Me, I always brighten the mood in the room, and I always, I tease guys and try to make them have a good day. And my strengths, I love rushing the passer, and now I'm getting better at stopping the run and stuff like that. So I feel like it all complements itself.